Thank you for tuning in to WDRB Media, the voice of the community. You are listening to Beyond the Barriers with Coach Cindy
and Mayor Sherry. On the Beyond the Barriers radio show, we believe we have the power to change the trajectory of our economic, social, health, and education outcomes by removing barriers that lie within historically excluded communities through cooperative models. Today we are discussing the heartbeat of our community, engaging locally. In this episode, we shine a spotlight on the initiatives that bring residents together, fostering a sense of belonging and unity. Our engaging discussions with our youth organization as well as entertainment production companies will unveil the strategies behind successful efforts. From neighborhood events to collaborative projects, we'll uncover the transformative power of coming together to create lasting positive change. Discover how these local initiatives are not only breaking down barriers, but also nurturing the very essence of community spirit.
Joining us in the studio today is Marshall and Raymond Patterson of the Marshall-Patterson Youth Project.
We also have today Ms. Pauline Ross, also known as P. Ross from WHISK Entertainment.
And our show sponsors is Sand Hills Cooperation Association, located at 348 North Main Street, Troy, North Carolina, serving 5 counties: Montgomery, Randolph, Moore, Richmond, and Stanley County.
Beyond the Barriers radio show.
Ready to ignite change? Sand Hills Cooperation Association empowers historically excluded communities, helping them become self-sufficient. Join us every Sunday at 5 o'clock p.m. for our Beyond the Barriers radio show on WDRB Media with Mayor Sherry
and Coach Cindy, addressing community challenges. Visit us at sandhillscooperation.org or visit us on Facebook, Sand Hills Cooperation Association, building brighter futures one community at a time.
This is Mayor Sherry
and Coach Cindy, host of Beyond the Barriers.
Welcome.
Yes, welcome, Mayor Sherry.
Yes, good to see you as well, Coach Cindy.
Oh yeah, we have so much that we have to talk about.
Beyond the Barriers radio show.
Talking about local engagement, how do you think COVID itself has impacted Black communities as it relates to local engagement? I know you mentioned before about there's been a change. Explain that a little bit more.
What I've noticed since COVID is that everything is timed. If you notice, if you have conversations with people now, they'll say, well, I don't remember, but it was before COVID.
Right. That was just like that. It was a pre-COVID and a post-COVID.
Yeah. It was a time stamp.
Right.
So when you think about time stamps, you think about the history of it. Why was this a time stamp? Well, we know the obvious, because we lost a lot of lives. But what else did we lose?
We lost community. I know we lost community.
Yes. And so we lost community because, well, let's say community shifted because people really took a hold of virtual community. To some degree, appreciated it better. But why? Had our personal in-person meetings or gatherings become taskful to us? Did it start being a burden to meet in person before COVID? Because it seemed like the shift did not take a whole lot of convincing. We'll just do Zoom or we won't do anything at all. So what was happening pre-COVID that made this shift so easy?
I think we were approaching that. We were approaching where COVID put us, but at a slower rate. I think COVID actually sped up the process of being impersonal, because you see, that's the whole purpose of, like, with social media. Like, I want to be in contact with you. I want to be connected with you, but I don't want to bring my all to the table. I don't want to bring me. I can bring
my avatar.
Exactly. I can just give you, I can pick and choose how I want to invite you into my space. So at home, on Zoom, you can put up your own little background, right? You can, if you don't want to look at people, you can just turn off your camera. You can have other conversations. You can even be doing other things.
Multitasking.
Exactly. So I don't have to bring my all to that space and to that place, because at that point, then I have to actually engulf you, right? And you got to engulf me. Like, we got to be personal.
I don't get to hide my dirty parts or the parts that I don't want my private parts.
Right.
If I have to be in person.
Mm.
If I have to be in person, then my facial expression, my body language, all of that you are privy to. Right. So even if my words don't say it, you can look at me and tell.
And tell, right.
But if I'm over Zoom, like you said, I can just turn my camera off and make all kind of faces at you. Put up my finger at you.
Right, or be in the chat and having my own little conversation.
Yes, the private chat over here. You see what it, you know. And there's nothing you can do about it. Right. There's nothing you can say about it. We're okay. You know, for as I know, we're okay. Mm-hmm. Like I had a really good conversation with Sherry today.
And it's not even genuine.
Because it's not genuine. Right. It gives us a greater opportunity to not be genuine. COVID, like you said, sped that up. I think we were headed that way. Now I can be who I want to be. I can have an avatar. I can put the kind of face I want on it. I can put the clothes filters, I want. I can do all kind of filters. And so I don't have to be authentic anymore. And it's acceptable.
And you know what? I'm going to tell you, one of the things that I saw that was occurring was even with dating, if you saw how dating was, at first it was like, you know, I have to go to certain spaces in order to find, I'm going to the club, I'm going to go to church or, you know, in a grocery store. Yeah. But so then it became like then online. Now you can go to these different websites to tell them, hey, these are my interests and this is what I want. And then you're having these conversations where you
don't really know who you're having conversations with.
And that's why I was getting ready to say people get catfished all the time. Like I said, I think we were approaching this and it's so much more comfortable being able to show you what I want to show you. Right. And then at any time, I can ghost you, right? Like I can't ghost you sitting right here in the room with you. But if I'm online...
It's a little harder. Right? I have had people to ghost me. Sitting right in the room with me.
I'm going to go to the bathroom.
I'm going to go to the bathroom. And you look around, they don't come back. Or you can be talking to them and you see that they not even in your sphere. Exactly. They don't hear you. They don't, but they So, but it was more challenging. Right. To not engage when we had to be in person. And you're right. I think COVID may have sped it up, but what else did it do to it? I think it gave it a definition that nothing else would have or could have. And I think we drudged through it, and some of us survived through it, and some of us even thrived through it. Right. But in 2023, what happened? That was supposed to be the year of the comeback to the personal. That was supposed to be the year to, you know, get back in the groove. What was they calling it? Creating the new, getting away from what they were calling the new norm. Right, gotcha. Well, so the new norm took a place at the table. The new norm is what we are in right now. Nobody wanted to go back to their traditional jobs. Even those working in traditional jobs did not want to go back to the office. Those that are found out they could make $2,000 doing what they like instead of $200 doing what someone else needed them to do. And so now here we are. We're in 2024 thinking, I think, like I said earlier, what I've been seeing is people saying that they're glad 2023 is over. Right. So what happened in 2023?
Now I'm going to tell you, like on a personal level, losing my mom last year, as difficult as that was, I think if that was the only thing that happened in my life during 2023, I think it would have hit me differently. But I feel like, I feel like I've grieved different. And it's not saying that it's not I didn't grieve healthy, but I know that there was a different type of grieve in me because I was dealing with so many other things that I had to get healed from it all. Right. You see what I'm saying? Right. I couldn't just bring to God, hey, you know, Lord, I lost my mom. I'm hurting. I'm in pain. But it was like, life didn't stop and life was like, boom. Yeah. And like, oh, you think that's bad. Let me hit you here. Let me hit you there. So it's like so many different avenues that I was being hit all at the same time. So it was like, I didn't just bring and say, God, heal me from the loss of my mom. It was like, God, heal me from this. And I got this going on. I got that. And so I think it was just so much all at one time that we are actually, some people are like literally losing their minds. They're like checking out. Suicide is increasing. Homicide is increasing. All these other things that are happening because our people are not being able to deal with all of it all at one time. So I can say, yeah, I lost my mom, and so that's why the last year was so horrible. I can't even say that. Right. You see what I'm saying?
Right. Because there was so many other,
it was so much other stuff involved.
Stuff. Yeah.
Yes.
And, and not just, I mean, we all look at it from our personal perspectives, but if you broaden the lens, a lot of us can have the same narrative.
Right.
Yeah, I have one specific thing that I really wish hadn't happened, but man.
Right.
All that other stuff that happened as well was equally burdensome.
Yes.
So, I don't even know if I'm grieving because I lost a loved one, or am I grieving because everything else is I'm losing.
It's not giving me time to grieve
right,
this.
Right. I'm upset that I don't have time to grieve. So, but I still think that somehow this was developed out of what we went through during COVID. Not just the actual virus.
Right.
I mean, it had its devastating impact, but everything else, it had a social impact. It had an economic impact, and not that other viruses haven't, but I think that psychological, that mental impact. I've not lived through any other virus of this nature, so I don't know that when they had the onslaught of other viruses, if it was, but
like
I know that
the Black Plague,
right? And so, but I'm here and I'm living this one. And I'm concerned. I'm concerned that we are ignoring what is the proverbial pink elephant in the room, and that's mental health. We don't want to deal with our mental health issues that COVID put a stamp on.
Right.
We don't want to deal with it. Mental health is one of those taboo things. You don't tell nobody you're losing it, that you can't think like you used to think. Or you can't show up like you used to show up. You want to even tell yourself, I'm choosing not to show up. I like Zoom, it's convenient.
Right. I'm an introvert anyway.
And I think COVID allowed us. It allowed us that. It exposed that. It allowed us to expose it and be politically correct or be socially correct, because everybody's doing Zoom. Zoom's great.
Even church. The church attendance has gone down greatly, exponentially, due to the fact that I can sit home and do live. Yeah. And I don't have to dress
call
up.
It bedside Baptist.
Bedside.
Jesus.
And then if I don't like what you said, I can get another pastor. I can get another. Yeah. But see, looking at all of that, as horrible and as bad as it is, I look at it and say, okay, did we need to come to this point to be able to, especially with mental health? Because now that it is being actually acknowledged that we really need to deal with the health of our mental state, that really been covering it up. We've been glossing over it. We've been functioning in it. We've been self-medicating it, especially in the Black community. You're going to see what they call a quack doctor or whatever they call, somebody, oh, you must be crazy, or you get a check, but dealing with these types of trauma that we've dealt with all this time. Now, not only are we traumatized from being historically excluded or being a part of this system, but now everybody is being put on this same level playing field.
Now, one of the narratives that came out of COVID was the exposing of the inequities of health. It was we had an idea that Black people weren't being served well in the health industry. Right. Well, COVID showed us just how real that is. And then it affected because even in our communities, we have a set of people that we expect to get a check. Right. We have a set of people who we expect to have to go to Daymar. But it is affecting people that we have not put in that category. I'm not overcoming any drug addictions. I don't have any, I haven't been mandated by the courts to attend these services. So what am I doing? Because I do have a mental health problem. So what am I doing? Am I going to continue to hide behind Zoom? And when you think that I'm listening, I'm swigging, I'm taking a drink, or I'm smoking a blunt, and you don't off camera, and you don't know it and don't expect it or suspect it, because that's not who I've been showing up before COVID. Right. I showed up as the independent one, the one that had everything together, the one that's really mover and shaker, and now I'm moving and shaking because I cannot mentally be present. I cannot really engage in what you're talking about, but I got to keep up my facade. Right. So I'm going to turn the camera off, not listen to you half the time, hope I'm saying at the right time. Right. Is anybody looking at what's really, really, really going on? I mean, we can put it in a political category. We can put it in a social category, but the lines are blurred.
Right. Oh, yes.
Because it's a mental category. And it's playing out in all these different ways, but we have been attacked mentally. Mm-hmm. And why is the timestamp on COVID so vivid? Like literally, I talked to people, professional people. Oh, I can't remember what year it was, but it was before COVID. Wow. So what did COVID do? From 2019, when we didn't even know that was what we were dealing with, people dying from what we thought was the flu. We've tried to put COVID away, a strand of the flu, or it's like this. But no, COVID is still having its residual effect on our lives.
Right.
Why?
And we know definitely it was not just physical, as you mentioned before. Now, before COVID, you did have those community champions, those who were willing to do. Now we see that even some of those community champions have lost their energy and drive after COVID. Yep. What does that look like now?
I think some undealt with issues is what I see. We are faced with issues that we hadn't dealt with that has become more apparent. Maybe I didn't have a lot of energy before, but there was an energy in the atmosphere. Maybe I didn't have personal energy. Maybe I would just go home and lay down tired afterwards, but I'm going to engage because the energy in the community
just ride the energy.
I'm just riding the energy.
Right.
But that energy is what's missing. There's no collective energy. When SCA did the Christmas Carol event, that was the whole purpose behind it. Let's come back together, y'all. Right. Let's, if we got to dig in the Santa bag and get something that we used to do, that made us feel like community, let's do it. It was a good idea, but where was the energy?
I mean, there was a few people that stopped.
It was. Some stopped.
Some stopped.
And some showed up. Some unexpected people showed up.
Yes.
But the energy of the community to come out and say, if nothing else, I just want to see what they're doing.
Right.
Or I want to see how it turns out. That energy is subsiding.
Right.
Like,
because they don't even care.
Yeah. Oh, I'll read about it on Facebook.
Right. I'll see it live.
I'll see if anybody did anything.
How should we move forward, even with our community advocates and our leaders and those that we are going to be awarding at our Black Journey Continues, because they are being awarded because of the work that they're, not that they've done, but a lot of them are still in this battle. They're still engaging locally and trying to get the community to engage locally.
Right. Well, I think what we're doing with the Black Journey Continues is one of the things that we can pull them together. So we're talking 5 different counties: Moore, Montgomery, Richmond, Stanley, and Randolph. Right. Are going to all be in the same room, champions of their own community, but they're going to have an opportunity to network with each other to strengthen the core, so that if something's going on in one county and they need some help, then they can pull on the networkers that they have been acquainted with in these other counties. Okay. And we can support each other in programming, things that are happening, community events, so that we can help bring the community out again. Right. Because we have to get past 2023. Awesome. And we've got to move into 2024 with a brand new mindset. When we come back, we will continue our discussion with the heartbeat of our community, engaging locally.
Attention community leaders and change makers. The Black Journey Continues Conference is back on February 24, 2024 at Montgomery Community College, 1011 Page Street, Troy, North Carolina. Join us for a day of empowerment and inspiration. Engage in thought-provoking sessions and panels on the power of community. Celebrate our community leaders at the awards luncheon. Doors open at 9:00 a.m. with breakfast and lunch included. Vendor spaces are available, and tickets can be purchased on Eventbrite. Contact 910-573-3070 or visit sandhillscooperation.org for details. This is your chance to be a part of something bigger. Sponsorship opportunities and ad purchases are available. Visit sandhillscooperation.org. Don't miss the Black Journey Continues Conference, where community strength takes center stage. See you there.
Beyond the Barriers Radio Show.
We We are here on Beyond the Barriers radio show, and I am Mayor Sherry.
And I'm Coach Cindy.
And today we have none other than Marshall-Patterson. Thank you all for joining us today on our show. We're talking about engaging locally. And there's so many different local things that are happening in our communities, and we want to make sure that people are aware about Marshall-Patterson Youth Project. So can you introduce yourselves and just let us know what you all got going on?
Well, I'm Mario Marshall. I'm the Marshall part of the Marshall-Patterson group. I am born and raised in Troy, North Carolina. I joined the Marine Corps, and I moved back home in 2010. We decided to make a change, or try to help make a change in our community.
Yeah, and on my behalf, Raymond Patterson, also native of Montgomery County, born and raised, well, not born and raised, but pretty much raised up for the majority of my life in Troy before leaving out to go to college at Fayetteville State University.
All right, Broncos.
All right, Bronco Pride.
Yes.
And leaving to go out and to the military as well. And, me and Mario have been best friends all since high school and stay connected. And like you said, wanting to make a difference within our community and give back what they gave to us, make it better.
We really do appreciate you all being with us today. Based upon the work that you do, can you describe your local engagement and let us know where your focal points of that engagement?
Definitely the focal point is in with youth. I think we began with just doing a basketball tournament that we was committed to carry on every year, just to give kids an outlet within Troy where we grew up at. And then that future leads on to donating to the schools, whether it's donating to different organizations with book bag giveaways, cash donations, or even first responders within the community. I think Mario can speak on that a little bit more.
The ideas, I don't know, I tell people it comes down to me and come out. So they come up from higher powers. And a lot of people ask me, like, how did you ever think of that? How did you come up with doing this? It's literally just the simple things. We have with the donuts and coffee for the first responders. I was literally in Salisbury. I was like, call Raymond. I was like, hey, you want to do? Let's just go to Montgomery County and to Troy and give first responders donuts and coffee. That was a big hit. The basketball tournament, we did kickball. We had fun day for MLA. We are youth oriented. I'm not saying we won't do other things, but we are aiming specifically for our youth to better our community.
Why do you think it's important to engage locally? You have gone outside of your own selves and you're doing things that are literally selfless. Why do you think that is important?
For myself, I definitely think it's important. I think it's one of the values that we carry in my branch with the Army, as with selfless service and giving back to the community. It's definitely important, and it definitely takes a village to raise a child. You got different organizations within the community, and it's definitely more of a positive to reach out to them. And all of us work together to, one common goal. Rather, we're working in different areas, but it's all focusing on the same point, and that's making Montgomery County better than what it is today. There should be a light within the community to encourage youth to grow up, lead off, or maybe they learn something from us and be able to at least see a good example of, at least I speak for myself, me and Mario, being black men within the community and, just to better themselves.
I think I relate back to the Black Exodus a lot, where you left, you gain knowledge, and you bring that back to your community. I think that's what we have both done with the military. We grew up here, you leave, you gain knowledge, you bring that back to your community and to your people to better it. And I was saying that if the people that have left Montgomery County just come back and give a little, that would mean a lot to our community.
Yeah, I think we all can vouch and say, hey, Montgomery County don't have it all as far as wealth and grand opportunities like big cities have. People who are able to make it out, go to college, go to different cities, tour the world, whatever it may be. It'd be nice for everybody to come back, and bring that experience back, especially since Montgomery County ain't really grown too much. At least I could speak on that from past 20 years.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that's real deep, guys. I would like to know. So you said you and Mario were friends since high school, right?
Middle school.
Middle school.
Wow.
So did your time in middle school and high school, what kind of bearing did it have on your ideas of what you would do when you got out as friends? Or did y'all even talk about that? Is this something that just evolved because of your relationship? Or did y'all talk about it as middle schoolers or high schoolers, like when we get out, we're going to do this and this and this for our community?
I don't think we had to. It was just in us to be those type of people on how we were raised and who we were raised by, to always be that, have that selfless image and always have that respect for our elders. So it was only right that I think we came back to do for our community. Raymond took me to my first church service, you know, like, and this was while we were in high school. So we have always been those kind of guys where we wouldn't talk for a long period of time, but when we got on the phone, it's like we never missed a beat. And it was the same way when it came down to us starting the program that we started.
Yeah, I agree. A lot of that is due to good examples within the community. I know we had coaches with high school for football, wrestling, our parents to look up to, being self-service, having that self-service mentality and helping others and be able to grow from that and do it for ourselves as well.
I'll say Albert Thomas was one of the guys. I remember him coming just to pick me up from practice or bring me home. This was every practice. He would just pick me up. No ask for gas, no nothing. So it was like one of those things, like we've seen it done. And so now it was our turn to do it.
Well, and you know what? One of the things that I constantly say is, a couple of things is that it's important for us to be to others what others have been to us that have led us to have had a positive impact on us. But then on the other side, be to others what we needed somebody else to be to us as well. So what I applaud with the two of you all with Marshall-Patterson Youth Project is that it may not be strategized, it may not be all planned out, but it's based upon the need at the time. You see the need and you meet the need. The needs that you see in the community, what barriers have you all faced as you have been in this work?
I think I know enough people to kind of get what we need or to get us where we need to be. Barrier-wise, I don't think I see barriers. I don't think we see barriers. We either going around it or over it. One of the two, I think that's the military mentality. Because if you tell me no, somebody else going to tell me. I'll use this for an example. Literally, as y'all say, it's a whim. We are on a whim. I went to MLA. I did a tour there. I just stopped by. I'm a member of Peabody. So I wanted to stop by and see the school. And when I went there, I was like, wow, can we take the kids somewhere? Like, it just hit me, the kids. I was like, can we take them on a field trip? And it was like, no, I don't know about all that. Okay, well, how about right behind here is a park? Well, you would have to talk to this. Don't worry about it. I'll go straight to the top. You understand? Like, I don't have to go. I know people, and we know people in different places where some of those barriers that other people might have, we don't. That's a great thing for us and our community.
Yeah, I think we find out that a lot of times it's about who you know, of course, but asking the right questions to certain leadership within in the community to get what you want. I mean, we're definitely not trying to do no harm, or we're only here for positivity and for the greater good of Montgomery County. I think just like you said, with any barriers that we may come about, we find a way to move around them or go bust right through them.
And I love that mentality, because barriers are there, but like Mario said, with your service mentality, with your armed services mentality, that is just an opportunity to show your skills. So you know the right questions to ask, you know who to talk to, so it's not a barrier to you. And that's a great attitude to have, especially with the work that you guys are doing with our youth.
I think Mario, I know we had conversations always about holding people accountable, what they want their kids to be treated like that, and do they want that on their head as far as, they allowed this to go on. So it's, you bring the problems up to the forefront of certain leadership, and it's up to them to make the move.
Because what you're saying and what we see you doing, you have put action to your words, it's not really all about strategic planning. Sometimes it's just about going with what you know and dealing with who you know and accomplishing what you want to accomplish. And so I applaud both of you for, doing it your way.
As you stated, you were raised in a way where it was your morals and your standards were in a position, in a place to where it's like, this is who we are, this is what we do. How can we encourage residents and other people to take an active role in shaping the future of our communities? What suggestions would you give in order to encourage others to do what you're doing?
We honestly need to publicize it more. What people are doing the good for the community. We need to give those people pats on the backs. We need to let the world see us, praise those people. I know it's a lot of things that go on in the community that I would love to give people certificates for, but it'll just be little old me giving somebody a certificate. Acknowledge the things that's going on in our community for the good of things. I think that's a good one that'll get people now moving, get people more energized, because a lot of times a lot of people do a lot of good things that goes seen and unheard. And so people emulate what they see. So if they see somebody getting an award or if they see somebody getting praise for this, it'll be a better opportunity for them to do also. We were just talking about this today. Random acts of kindness. We had random acts of kindness. It was like, hey, we seen this person do a great thing today. They announced it over the intercom. It was a big old thing. So everybody else then wanted to get that same recognition. You understand what I'm saying? So
right.
We do that more, those people will step up more.
Also, other organizations be able to see somebody doing more and reach out to that person. Hey, we like to do something. How can we assist? Or they might want to assist with your organization and build off that. It's about being visible. Right. We got to get out these four walls. We got to get off the phones. We got to get in the neighborhoods and be visible to the people in our community and let them know, hey, we're a voice. We're doing something. We're trying to do better. We want y'all to help us with that because ain't nobody going to help us but ourselves. I'm going to digress. I don't say some other stuff, but I don't digress.
Yeah, and I think the thing is, we have really been seen, whether it be MLA in Troy, we've been to Chandler on the Hill, we've been to Brutonville, we've been to Highland and Mount Gilead, we've been to these places. They've seen us, they know our faces, so those are the kind of things that people want to see. Outside of that, we work with Tremaine Ingram and other organizations. Me and Tremaine partnered together to do Moco Riders. It's those kind of things that people see, oh man, they doing that too, or they doing this also. People want to be a part of it now. And we hold a lot of that responsibility. We got to get out here and do more. That's what we're trying to do now.
I have definitely seen you guys in the community. Again, I applaud the work that you're doing. And you are engaging in a lot of different activities. And this interview is leading up to Black Journey Continues, where you guys have been nominated for the work that you do. And so it's just a real pleasure to be here with you today. Do you guys have any activities or events that are happening in the community through your organization that you'd like to talk about?
Some people know Marshall-Patterson, and we really work off a whim. We could be doing something tomorrow and not even know.
That's right.
Yeah, you're right. Well, you do have one thing that happens every year, and that is the basketball tournament, right?
We do. The first weekend in July, we basketball tournament. We have been asked to host that basketball tournament at Highland this year.
Oh, that's awesome.
Wow.
So we are thinking how we could, expand a little bit. I think we reached our community. We did good. I like to think the prayer circle is a hit. I showed that to a lot of people that we put together.
Yeah, that was very moving.
They was like, hey, where did all these people come from? We have no idea. We honestly, it's just me and Raymond at the beginning of the day and it's me at the end of the day. And it's a whole lot of people that show up in between. People's like, hey, can you get those group of kids together again? I have no idea who those kids are. we just put it on and they show up. And that's what a lot of people need to know. We really don't really make that happen. The community does. The community comes out and make that happen.
And you know what? What's interesting, and my mind is just going to where you said something very profound. You said that you all provide the platform that attracts the community to come. And it's like, as far as community centers and development groups and all these other groups and programs that are out there, many times we plan. It's like we don't give the community what they want. We try to give them what we want to give them, rather than setting up a platform and saying, hey, I'm just going to set this out here and we just going to let it flow. We just going to let it do what it do. Because if you provide something that the community is attracted to and what they want, then they're going to show up. You ain't got to go out and do a whole bunch of marketing and buy a whole lot of advertising or any of that. It's automatically that word of mouth, that honey that you all are putting out there. It is attracting the community, bringing the unity within the community and doing something that is so phenomenal that people may not know your name. They may not know Marshall and Patterson, but they're going to remember, hey, y'all remember when we used to gather at such and such time? And so those are the memories that I think means so much that are so lasting and impactful on the lives of our young people. And I really do appreciate what you all are doing within our communities.
I like to say that also. I literally sit back and I think to myself, like, we've been doing this for like 7 to 8 years. We've been putting on this basketball tournament.
Mm-hmm.
That's 5 trophies a year. I'm like, man, we got trophies with our names on it. So mind-blowing that we have been doing this for so long. And I hope, I still have my trophies from high school, and I really hope they look at our trophies the same way as we do.
It's about having those memories. You can give to people, but the memories don't go away. It's like with a child, you can give all the gifts you want, but what's going to be more profound in their lives and what's going to be really leave that mark is the memories.
Mm-hmm.
So leave these good memories within the community. Leave a mark.
And you guys definitely are leaving the mark.
You are. And so we just thank both of you all for joining us in our Beyond the Barriers radio show. Any last words that you all want to say? Any encouraging words that you all want to leave our audience today?
For myself, I want to say, it's an honor to have a voice on your platform. We thank you very much for giving us our voice to be heard.
I would really like to say is, if you would please, it has been a big impact in my life to have a mentor. Find a mentor. Find you somebody you can look up to that's going to push you and motivate you on a daily or weekly or monthly basis. Not only that, find someone that you can mentor as well. Find you somebody that will look up to you and lead them in the right path. And if you don't know, ask your mentor. I think that would be big in our community if we had someone to look up to or someone to talk us through a whole lot of good and bad times.
It is.
And it's so needed in our community. Thank you for being a mentor.
Yes, it makes a difference. And once again, thank you all for joining us in Beyond the Barriers radio show, Marshall and Patterson projects and initiatives that you all do. And so once again, we thank you for your contributions. Listen, after the break, we're going to continue our discussion on engaging locally. You are tuned in to Beyond the Barriers radio show on WDRB Media, the voice of the community, with Mayor Sherry
and Coach Cindy.
And we'll be right back after this message.
Looking for a dynamic workspace to fuel your creativity and boost productivity? Welcome to the Innovative Action Center, your hub for co-working and meeting space at 346 North Main Street, Troy, North Carolina. Become a member and enjoy 24/7 access, high-speed Wi-Fi, cozy coffee bar, and snacks to keep you energized. Elevate your business game with our membership packages. For more information, contact us at 910-573-3070 or visit sandhillscooperation.org. The Innovative Action Center is more than a workspace. It's a community dedicated to business development and job creation. Join us for monthly workshops, seminars, and entrepreneurial services. Take your business to new heights at the Innovative Action Center. Visit us today.
Welcome back to WDRB Media, the voice of the community. And those streaming live through free TuneIn radio app, Streama, Apple Music, Radio Seed, and more. You're listening to Beyond the Barriers radio show, and I'm your host, Mayor Sherry.
And I'm Coach Cindy.
Beyond the Barriers radio show.
We have in our studio none other than Miss Pauline Ross of WHISK entertainment. Hello, Miss Ross. So glad for you to join us today. It is an honor and a privilege. Can you introduce yourself?
Okay. I'm Pauline Ross. I also am known as P. Ross. First initial, dot, and then Ross. I am the owner of WHISK Entertainment. This is an entertainment company that acts as an agent for those that are looking for someone to mediate for them as far as talent is concerned. And we also host events, and we just do a variety of things in the area of entertainment.
Now, what is one of your main driving forces, your real passion?
My passion is having fun, having good, clean fun, and seeing everybody else enjoy themselves. I mean, we do so much, like you said, you see me doing a lot of things. A lot of times, a lot of us work. We do things at home with our families. We doing all these other things, but we don't stop to take time and have a good time for ourselves with our families. Or it's rare, or sometimes we have to squeeze it in. But I just like to see people just have a good time.
Why do you think that's important within our Black communities?
It brings forth a balance. We have a lot of issues in our, just like other communities, but in our Black community, we seem to always be at the bottom of the totem pole. We're struggling to do this a lot of times, or we're struggling to do that just to stay above water. That can have a play on our mental health. It can affect our families in a negative way. So I feel like if you just find a balance, and that balance, it includes fun. It includes doing something out of the ordinary, the routine work and home and family. I just feel like you just add a little bit of that and it makes things better.
Sounds like to me you got a new spin on mental health. That's really not a new spin, but I think people may not have considered that entertainment is mental health. To be able to laugh and enjoy others' company and just for a moment forget about all the day-to-day stuff, that is a balance, and it's good for our mental health.
I mean, and just to give you some background on that as far as myself, years ago, I grew up a little bit in my grandmother's home as a youngster in Newark, New Jersey, and we lived in the projects, okay, like project area in Newark, New Jersey, in the bad side of town. My grandmother's home had a piano. I still have that piano to this day. I remember just her making life around us fun with the neighbors that would come over, somebody singing or trying to tap dance or playing a drum and getting on the piano. We had entertainment in our house, and it was just something that broke up all the sadness or monotony. Just the entertainment, just little small parts of entertainment made things better for us.
So this is in your genes, huh?
It's in my genes.
That's good. That's real good. And as you were talking, I was just really thinking back. When I was growing up, we did have to make our own entertainment. TV was still black and white and used rabbit ears for antenna, and sometimes it just wasn't enough, so we played games. We entertained ourselves, and then there was always that community cookout. It's good to know that tradition in our community is still happening. Of course, I'm sure you're doing it on a much larger scale, but still it's the same concept. Balance your life with some entertainment.
Yes.
Now tell me this, you're engaging community, you're gathering community together, you're giving them something to bring them to a common place, to enjoy commonality among one another. Everybody's dancing to the same music. Everybody is experiencing this environment. What are some of the successes that you've seen?
Well, when people come together, that's their opportunity to network, to see what this one is doing there and what that one is doing over there. And it may benefit them in some way. So just a simple process of networking in these gatherings, sharing business cards or information about what this one does and what that one does.
Have you experienced any barriers or any obstacles within WHISK Entertainment?
I have. I don't like to call it like this, but you got to call it as it is. And I'm not one that have a whole lot to say anybody needs to be or should feel jealous of me, but when you can't put it into any other words because it is what it is, jealousy sometimes comes in there, whether it's amongst people that don't know you, people that was in your circle, people that thought that they did something for you and they want the accolades for it. Yeah. And you're like, well, where's this coming from, I mean, just that's been one thing. And then another has been, I know two people can have the same idea.
Right.
But sometimes you share your ideas with others, and then when they implement before you can, before you do. That's discouraging. Just know support. I know we use that word a lot and often, support. And I understand sometimes your product or your service or whatever you're putting out there, it may not be interesting or it may not benefit those that you're trying to market to. But, that's where you got to get on your P's and Q's and figure out what's best in the demographic you're in or the market you're trying to reach. Instead of just going right out there and just trying to service everyone or present something to folks. If you don't do those things, I feel like it could be a barrier.
Right. And how do you overcome these? Like, how do you overcome the jealousy? How do you overcome the competition and even those who, doesn't matter what you throw, they just not going to show up because it's you?
I just work around it. I sit back, I regroup, I look at everything, I analyze, I ask others their opinions, and I try to make sure if I'm doing anything wrong, I correct it or I fix it.
And that's really all you can do, because even at your best and in your best efforts, you are going to have people who still are not going to appreciate what you do. Let it land where it lands.
Sometimes you go outside of your circle, you go outside of your community, I've just been blessed to have, I'm going to call it blessed. I've lived all over North Carolina. I've lived in Greenville, North Carolina. I lived in Fayetteville. I lived in Raleigh. I lived in Charlotte several times. I lived in Winston-Salem. So I got familiar with a lot of different communities and what's there and the people there. Now, over the time span, I've learned that things have changed, but I've tried things in different cities. And that's why I just don't limit myself to one. And then I try to, once I see it works here for me or it works over there for me, that's where I try to gravitate to.
So you mentioned earlier that you kind of scout talent for people.
I do.
Can you expound on that just a little?
Yes. So we have a lot of people just within our midst in our communities that are talented. And either they're looking for a platform or they don't know that they're as talented as they are. So what I try to do is, for those that don't know they're as talented as they are, encourage them and give them a small platform to start with and encourage them to try here. I know you've done it in church, but try it over here. Or if you hadn't done it in church, let's try church, Let's put you on the microphone, or go ahead and play around with the keys on the piano over there, the keyboards. Blend in with the band as much as you can, or the rest of the musicians, that type of thing. And for those that are already performing, we just try to find other areas, new areas for them to showcase their talent.
Do you have a brick and mortar?
I do not.
So you're virtual, so that you do everything online, or how do you find these? How do you broker these talents?
I don't want to give all my secrets away.
Okay. Well, you don't have to.
I know a lot of people. I mean, I've just been blessed to have run into people or been introduced to people. And like I said, I lived all over North Carolina. Not only that, I'm originally from Washington, D.C. So I was born in Washington, D.C. I have older siblings and nieces and nephews in that area still. New Jersey, I lived in New Jersey for a short period of time. I had family there. So just between those areas, just the different places I've lived, I've come to know people and their people's people.
Sounds good. And it sounds like it's working.
It's working. It'll work a little bit more, though.
How long have you been in the business? How long have you been doing this?
As an LLC, I'm going into my 7th year.
Okay, awesome. Did you have mentors to help you, or is this just something that it just came natural for you?
You know what? I'm going to say a little bit of both. I come from a family that's talented. A little of it I just kind of knew. It's just within me. And then I've got a cousin that works professionally in the entertainment business. He travels a lot. I would call him. He's actually younger than me. Some of it's natural. And then as far as mentors, I had 2 mentors. Unfortunately, we lost both of them right at the beginning of me starting this. They were my biggest supporters, biggest encouragers. And one of them, he has been in this business for a while as a DJ. And that was my classmate. He was known as DJ Terry Jones. And then there was, at the venue that I use often, which is down memory lane, there was a DJ there, older, and he's the one that prepped, I guess, DJ Terry T. And he was known as DJ Skullman Davis, Mr. Robert Davis. Both of them prepped me. Terry T, he more or less talked to me about the business side of things, contracts and things of that nature. You know, don't do any business without a contract. And this, and that, you know. So those two, that's who I attribute that to. My cousin as well. And then just that little piece of knowledge I had of my own.
Is there anything that you would like to tell our listeners as it relates to following their passion, to bring community together in any way? What would you leave our listeners with?
Listeners, please get involved into anything that's going on in your communities. It's very important. Pay attention to what's going on in the governments. I waited so late in life to do that, and I wished somebody would have taught me to do this earlier. It is important. And even though you think your voice doesn't matter, it truly does. Your vote does count. It does matter. And just pay attention to what's going on in the local paper. Start your young folks into that process as well to get ahead. We need to be aware. We always need to be in the know. And I know we've heard this a dozen times, support one another. I know we can't be everywhere all the time, and everything is not for us to support. But if you could at least pick one or two to support, do it. It's much needed, especially in the Black community.
Thank you. Thank you so much once again for joining us in the studio, Miss Pauline. Do you have any way of that people can contact you? Like if they are somebody looking to be scouted, or they just want to reach out to you, how can they get in touch with you?
You can go to the contact section of my website, and that is www.whiskentertainment.com. WHISK is spelled WHISK. So www.whiskentertainment.com. March 9th at Down Memory Lane, 7 p.m. to 10 p.m. We are doing a first, and hope to continue this, Survivor's Ball. What is a Survivor's Ball? Anybody that has survived anything tragic, any health issues, anything of that nature, this ball is for you. We're going to have comedy. We're going to have live music. We're going to have a DJ, food. We want you to come show out and feel good on this day. We don't want you to worry about your troubles, and we want you to celebrate in a manner in which we provide for you.
Now say that date again and give the address.
March 9th at Down Memory Lane, 161 Dawkins Street in Aberdeen, North Carolina. Dinner is going to be a part of that ticket as well. You can find the information on my website. We will have tickets available on Eventbrite and other sources. Yeah, we want everybody to come. I mean, it's not just for the survivors, but survivors, families, friends, and it's going to be a age 25 and up event.
Okay, awesome.
Thank you so much.
Dealing with their mental health, and once again we appreciate your time. We appreciate you on our show.
And I am so appreciative of the two of you.
No problem.
Beyond the Barriers radio show.
Get ready for inspiration and empowerment every Sunday at 5 p.m. on WDRBmedia.com with the Beyond the Barriers radio show. Join Mayor Sherry and Coach Cindy as they tackle the issues facing historically excluded communities. It's a powerful conversation on cooperative models, breaking barriers in economic, social justice, health, and education. Tune in, engage, and be part of the change.
Hi, this is Coach Cindy, and this is week 3 of Community Coaching 101. And I'm back at you again about cohesive community. We've talked over the last couple of sessions about what a cohesive community looks like and what it takes to make it work. We talked about fellowship being one of the pieces of the foundation of a cohesive community. And fellowship is not just coming together with a few laughs, a drink, and having an agenda, but it's about companionship. It's about camaraderie. It's about shared purpose, power, and productivity. When you come together as a community with those things in mind, you become cohesive. We're going to talk a little bit about where is the birthing place of a cohesive community. Most often, cohesive community begins with in community organizations. Organizations are birthed out of someone or someone's idea of what their community should look like. Maybe it was one person who decided they wanted to do something to make better the community they lived in. Or maybe it was a group of people who saw an opportunity to do something positive for their community and they formed an organization. Community organizations are very vital inside of communities. They can also be very damaging if you are not using collective purpose, power, and productivity. For example, I can start a community organization with just my idea of what I think community ought to be like. But if I'm not willing to open my mind to others and the way they do things and how they feel about the community, and if we cannot gather a collective purpose, the organization is not vital. On last week, I asked you to look inside of your community to see if you actually could identify a community organization that spoke to those principles. And if you were not a part of it, to become a part of it. Because it takes individuals like yourself to become part of something or be a part of something or an organization that's going to work to make cohesiveness happen within the community. So I hope you did that. If you did, please share that with me. You can go to sandhillscooperation.org, hit that Coach Cindy tab, and share with me your thoughts, your comments. If you have information, anything that you want to share with me about cohesive community. Today we're going to talk about at least one way we can begin to start a cohesive community. Let's just imagine that we're building it together. What is the fundamental ways of becoming a cohesive community organization? Well, I think step one is showing up. We all want our name on the membership roll, right? And we might even pay dues. But if we're not showing up in these spaces, we're not participating in the opportunity to build a cohesive community. Now, I'll be the first to say that sometimes community organization meetings are conflicting with other things. The time frame doesn't work for your lifestyle or whatever, but sometimes we have to sacrifice to make sure that we are showing up and being committed to the unified purpose, power, and productivity. So let's show up. If you have identified that community organization within your community, and if you haven't joined, join. If you have joined, show up. And show up with an open mind and a willing heart to do the work that it's going to take to make your community cohesive. So what I would like for you to do in this session is to share with me, if you showed up to a meeting, how did you show up? And if your showing up was welcome, if it was something that you feel like will help the community become better, become more cohesive, you can share with me at sandhillscooperation.org. Hit that Coach Cindy tab and let's talk. Until next week, you be wise, be healthy, and be blessed, and I'll see you then.
Beyond the Barriers radio show.
Beyond the Barriers Nugget of Wisdom from Coach Cindy.
Hi, this is Coach Cindy with your Nugget of Wisdom for the week, and we are in mid-January 2024. And surely we have made promises or resolutions to ourselves to have better, to be better, and to do better. But just how are we going to do that? We're going to need to add a little faith. Faith is the substance of things hoped for. It is the evidence of things that are not seen. So where are we going to get this substance? Where are we going to see this evidence? Well, it has been written in the infallible word of truth, better known as the Bible. When you go in search of your life, which is hid in the Word of God, you will find that every good resolution and every good promise that you have made to yourself will be manifested right into your life, because it's what He wants for you, just like you want it for you. So let's go searching.
Beyond the Barriers Nugget of Wisdom from Coach Cindy.
Join us next week as we discuss Policy Pioneers, Navigating Advocacy in Community.
And we want to thank today's guests, Mario Marshall and Raymond Patterson of Marshall-Patterson Youth Project, and Pauline Ross of WHISK Entertainment for joining us today.
Thank you everyone for tuning in. Continue to tune in every Sunday at 5 o'clock p.m. Please listen live 24/7 by going to wdrbmedia.com and click on the Listen Live tab. Also, if you want to be a guest on the show or want free advertising? Call us at 910-573-3070 or email us at sandhillscooperation@gmail.com. Connect with us on social media at Sand Hills Cooperation Association, also at Beyond the Barriers Radio Show. You've been listening to Beyond the Barriers Radio Show, and we are your hosts, Mayor Sherry
and Coach Cindy, on WDRB Media, the voice of the community, for double the information and inspiration. Sowing seeds of change, breaking barriers, and transforming lives. That's what we do at Beyond the Barriers. Until next week, continue to be blessed.
Beyond the Barriers Radio Show.